everybody. Come on in. Please come on in. Make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you share the live out and subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed to the channel. Excuse me. Today, we're going to be discussing episode 4 of season 2 of Surviving R. Kelly. And hopefully all you guys have already, been caught up, because there's only one episode left after this one for me to review. So hopefully everybody is caught up and been able to watch all the episodes, or at least up to this point, so that you can join me in this review. So feel free to come out of the bushes, step into the chat, and, let me know your opinions on any of the things that we're going to be speaking about, or anything thus far that you have learned regarding R. Kelly, his victims turned survivors, or, anything about his ongoing trial. So, yeah, feel free to make sure you comment in the chat and let me know your thoughts and opinions on certain things. Now, this episode, the last episode had ended with them talking to Geronda Pace, which was the super fan of R. Kelly, the one who met him when she was 15 years old. She was such a humongous super fan that, during her high school years, she would skip school every day to go and sit in at his trial when he was facing charges, for when he was caught on tape, and, when he was peeing on that, little girl, and, having sex with that little girl. And he had, of course, everybody knows he ended up getting off after that in the trial of 2008. Now, after she witnessed him getting off of that trial, and, a lot of people around the world witnessed it. A lot of people had, was like, well, he got to be innocent. He didn't got off of this case, facing all this time and these charges, and he didn't got off. So the man must be innocent. The man must be, he's a cool dude. He's not a predator. He's not a pedophile. He's not, all those things. So she felt that way as well, even though she always believed in her heart and mind and soul that he did no such thing as wrong. So within 2 weeks, like less than 2 weeks, he had her basically living in his place. She would, of course, come visit him all the time, skipping school. Her parents didn't know. It was one of those situations again where she was sneaking around her parents. Parents wasn't as proactive, maybe is the right word to say, in her life at that time. More vigilant, that might be the best words that I can think of. But she wasn't really concerned about her whereabouts. And she had said that in the last episode. She was like, my parents, they weren't that kind of parents, that was always wondering where you were and where you been and what time you get here and what time you leaving. And, they weren't checking behind her and stuff like that. And she came from a broken home, abusive home. And so he promised her things just like some of the other survivors had, alleged, that he was different from any abuser. He would never hurt her. He would always, do her right, take care of her, all this kind of stuff. Just like, a lot of the other survivors had mentioned that he always promised them. And she fell for it. And then shortly thereafter, just like the other situations, his MO is to get in good with a young girl and then make her feel comfortable enough to have her invite her other friends to his place. And will tell them, oh, he's cool. He ain't really like that. The media, portrays him to be. He ain't like that. He's cool. He's down to earth. And, da-da-da-da. So she started bringing her other friends. And that's where her friends Azriel and Joycelyn comes into play. Now, what I most remember, and they brought it back up in this episode, what I most remember from last year is R. Kelly. When, regarding R. Kelly, was when Joycelyn and Azriel had that interview with Gayle King. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is, and along with some of these other, women, is Stockholm Syndrome. And a lot of you know what Stockholm Syndrome is. For those of you who do not know what Stockholm Syndrome is when people have been abused by somebody that they love and respect for so long that they fail to see any reason to escape or leave that person. They always thinking that person will eventually start treating them better because they constantly showing love to that person. And Stockholm syndrome is serious. It's really serious. Hey, Felicia Fee, how you doing, love? I don't know if you've been keeping up with this season 2 of R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly, or if you already watched it or not. I know some people are like, oh, I can't watch it, I can't do it. And then some people like me, I'm all in there with my, popcorn and everything right in front of the TV, watching what's going on. But we are reviewing episode 4 of season 2. And episode 4 of season 2 was titled After the Rescue. They showed how one of the girls, and it's crazy because when Dominique, she was one of the friends who, it was Dominique, it was Azriel, and it was Joy. Those were some of the people that was invited to the house after Geronda started hanging out with R. Kelly. When he said, bring other people, bring some friends, like he did with the other survivors. So she brought her friends, and one of them was Dominique Gartner. I mean, out of all the people that my heart just reached out for, it had to be, in this scenario, Dominique Gartner. AKA Dom. You said it brings a lot of emotions. I couldn't. It does. It really brings a lot of emotions. Like me watching this, being that I do reviews on TV shows, documentaries, reality shows, it's just something I had to watch. I mean, even though I've always, since way back in the day when all these allegations started coming out and these charges started coming out and he started going to court, I always was wondering, when will he be found guilty? Like when? So I've been following him for quite a while, but that Dominique Gartner, we saw on last season how her mother had went to the hotel where Dominique was in a hotel with Joycelyn. And remember at that time, when her mom had went to the hotel, she was trying to bring her daughter home, but her daughter, she didn't want to talk to her. She hadn't really talked to her in a long, long time because of the fact he keeps them isolated so they can't talk to other people. He gives them a phone. They can only use that phone, and they can only make calls with his permission. They can't eat. They can't sleep. They can't use the bathroom. They can't drink water. They can't look at nobody besides him. They can't talk to other people besides him without his permission. So they were really, really isolated. And so her mother just knew that something was wrong. Like some of the other ones, their mothers just knew that something was wrong. And so she, with the assistance of the Lifetime Network, went up there. They took her up there. She went to the hotel. They told Dom, they called up to the room and said, you got a package down here. She said, I can't come down. I mean, this was all videotaped. The girl couldn't come down. Like, they can't bust a move without his permission. They're not supposed to go shopping. They're not supposed to go out to eat. They're not supposed to order room service. They're not supposed to do nothing without his permission. So instead, Lifetime and the producers and the camera crew, they went up to Dom's hotel room. She opened the door. We saw all that last season. She opened the door, saw her mom there. She freaked out because Joycelyn was in the other room in the hotel, and they are not supposed to communicate with anybody without his permission. So when I saw that last season, I'm telling you, my heart was just like, if that was my kid, I would have been just like her. Like, I am not leaving here. I am not leaving here and heading back home until I bring my child with me. And it was so sad. Her mother was so sad and distraught. And Dominique, you can see it in her eyes that she really wanted to go, but she was scared. And then on top of that, I think like since Joycelyn was like, I don't know if she wanted, what would you call it? Like the older sister of the group or whatnot. That it was kind of like that situation because they were all like sister wives. They were all like Dom and them, they and Geronda, they called it like a sisterhood. like a sisterhood, like with sister wives. Sometimes the sister wives, they might get jealous of each other because everybody is trying to get the most of the attention, from the man. And they all would always be trying to do something extra, something to get his attention, something to spend more time with him. But on the flip side, even though they all had a little jealousy amongst each other, on the flip side, whenever one of them would break one of his rules, most of the time they wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't tell. They would kind of sweep it under the rug because they knew that there was some harsh punishment, like some severe punishment that could be had if any of them break the rules. So it was like, we love each other, we care for each other, but we all, want more from this man than the other person. But on the flip side, we're all sisters, we're all in this together, and they wanted each other to be safe, and they didn't want each other to be hurt or harmed at any time. But it happened where they were abused physically, mentally. It was really sad. That Dominique last season, when I saw her, finally, her mother had went out to the car and she was sitting with the camera crew and she was just crying and she had broke down. And next thing you know, the people that worked at the hotel, they ran out there and they said, Dominique is on the phone at the front desk. I don't know if all y'all remember that, but that was from last season. And so she went in there, she was running to the front desk, and she got on the phone, and Dominique said, come back at such and such time, like later on in the evening, because I guess she thought she would be maybe alone, or maybe Joycelyn would be away from the hotel. And so her mom ended up coming back, and she ended up leaving with her mom, and she basically left with a bag of clothes. They hurried up, they got her out of there, and she left. And she finally left. Now, back then, Dominique didn't want to have anything to do with the press, the media, the Lifetime movie network, producers, the camera crew. She didn't want to have anything to do with that. She just wanted to be done with Kels and back at home in the safety of her mother, her father, and her little brother. I was so glad when I saw in this season that she was coming forward to tell her story. I really wanted to know her story because a lot of people have speculated, because it was rumors going around. It's been rumors going around for quite a while that Kels enjoy being with women as well as boys, and men and girls as well as boys. So this might have stemmed from the time when he was abused by a man, by males at a very young age, and also abused by his older sibling, his sis, at a very young age. That's probably where that stemmed from. A lot of times when you're abused by the opposite sex, you automatically get confused and you think, am I gay? Am I straight? Am I, you automatically get confused. But then when you're abused by both sexes, it's like, well, dang, am I gay? Am I straight? Do I like girls? Do I like men? And I really believe that R. Kelly is bisexual. I believe that he entertains women more than men or boys. I do believe that, but I do believe that he is bisexual and he likes doing it with both. And it has came out several times in the last season, in this season. And that's why I really, really wanted to hear Dominique's story, because y'all saw how he had her looking like a little boy. He had her looking like a whole boy on that episode, on last season and this season. But she had, when she told the story of how it came to be that she started looking like a little boy, we had just thought, well, a lot of people had just speculated that he likes little boys. She's a little tomboyish. He started making her dress and look like a little boy. But what had happened was, they had got into it one time. She, among all the women, among all the sisterhood, the sister wives, whatever you want to call them, he is confused. It's too much. It's a lot. It's a lot. But she still looks like a boy. She don't look like a female to me. She looks like a little boy. What had happened was, and she's small. She's really small. Now, she was much bigger when she went to be with him, when her mother went to rescue her, she was down to 98 pounds. So she was very, very small. And she said it looked like her daughter hadn't eaten in a long time. And we already knew that one of his punishments to the ladies is if you look at another guy and I find out, if you call somebody without permission, if you eat, if you use the bathroom, if you do anything without permission, you will be punished. She was like one of the main ones who was rebellious out of all the females in the sisterhood. She was like the main one that was rebellious. So she got the brunt of most of the discipline or the abuse or punishment. And this one particular time, she had did something that they was at a party. They was at a party, and he had told her to come here. And she said, I was just chilling. I was relaxed. I was sitting in a chair, sofa, whatever. And she was chilling. She didn't feel like moving. She was chilling. She was comfortable. And he said, come here. And she didn't feel like getting up at that time. So she didn't. That pissed him off. He got so upset with her. When they did get into it, he snatched her by her hair, pulled her hair out, and yanked her by her hair so bad that he snatched her hair off her head, literally. And she said when she went to comb her hair and brush her hair, it just came out in big old chunks. And so one day he was looking at her like, what's up with your hair? What happened to your hair? And she was like, well, remember when we got into it and you pulled my hair out? And she was like, you pulled my hair out. When you grabbed my hair, you pulled my hair out. He said, oh, it's okay. You might look good with short hair. I think you should just cut it all off. And that's when she shaved her hair off. That's when she shaved all her hair off. And she started dressing like a boy, wearing baseball caps, looking like a boy, and all this kind of stuff. And they also said how it was certain times when Kels would bring a young boy to the place to be in the bedroom with the ladies. So again, it's been allegations, it's been rumors for years that he was interested in both sexes, which would be fine. It would be absolutely fine if you like men and women, if you was bi or not. Keyword, men and women. Keyword, men and women, not a grown old man with boys and girls. So, but anywho, so that's how she ended up looking like a boy and all her hair. So remember when they had called her and Joycelyn out and they were out shopping and TMZ happened to catch them and took pictures and posted it on social media? This was like the first time the ladies had like literally been seen out in public in a long time up to that point. And when Dominique's mother saw her, that was like what did it. When Dominique's mother saw her in the TMZ photos that was floating across social media, that's when she knew. She said she could just tell her daughter was in distress. She didn't look right. She didn't look happy. All her hair was shaved off. She had lost a whole bunch of weight. She was like, that is not my daughter. And that's when she had found out, about the Lifetime had contacted her because they was doing the documentary, and they contacted her and she wanted to go out there and get her daughter, and they agreed to bring her out there to get her daughter. And her daughter ended up coming back with her. Geronda Pace, just like some of the other ladies who ended up bringing some of their friends to R. Kelly, she felt guilty. Because when she brought them girls to R. Kelly, just like some of the other one did in the past, they didn't even know like the relationships that was going on. Each of the females thought at one time they was like the only woman. It's been a lot of victims, Fee. I mean, if we go all the way back to before Aaliyah, it's been a lot of victims, and a lot of victims we don't know about because they had to sign NDAs. And like a lot of the civil cases that were settled out of court, they had to sign NDAs. So a lot of victims, nobody knows exactly how many victims there are. If anybody does have an idea of how many victims there was, it's definitely Robert Kelly, aka Ara Kelly. It would definitely be like people in his camp, like his security guards, his managers, his, people like them. They would know like an idea of how many. Like the last episode. The last episode. Um, when the security guards in his camp said they didn't know a particular female who had went to press charges on him, but once they found the proof, once they found the pillows, once they found his semen, once they found her bags tossed out in the dumpster, in the back of his building, once they found all that, they all had to change their story. And they all was like, okay, yeah, we know her. Yeah, she used to be here a lot. Yeah, So it's like a lot of times with this particular R Kelly, the proof don't come out till there's like concrete proof, because there is a whole bunch of people who are still enabling R. Kelly. To this day, people are still enabling R. Kelly. He might not ever touch another child, another young girl or boy, or abuse anybody, period, even grown, because some of the women he abused was full-grown women. He might not ever do any of that ever again, but even if he doesn't, he's still being enabled. And why? Because people who know stuff, people who have concrete information or concrete proof, they could come forward anytime, but they won't. They won't. And it's because like they owe some type of loyalty. The one thing about R. Kelly through all these years, through all his victims, through all his staff, his camp, was like loyalty was everything. If he thought that you were being disloyal to him, he would throw you out like last week's trash. No matter who you were, he would throw you out like last week's trash. Like when his brother wouldn't agree to say that he was the man in that tape, R. Kelly offered him money, cars, homes, contracts, music contracts. He offered him the world, his own brother, to lie and say that was him in that tape and not R. Kelly. His brother like, heck no. There is no amount of money that you could pay me to say that was me in the tape and not you. Even his brothers and everybody else knew that was him in that tape. But again, enablers. The little girl's parents were the enablers in that case. They were the main ones in that case, surrounded by a whole bunch of other enablers. But at that time, it was up to them to give that final word and say, that's my child on that tape. So it like I said, it really gets to me how people keep over and over saying, this is the girl's fault. They shouldn't have been there. Where their parents? You cannot just keep blaming the parents for this and the girls. You gotta start placing blame on these adults that was around these little girls when they were traipsing through his building and spending the night, and the ones he had living in his garages and all this. I mean, who was feeding them? Who was cleaning up after them? Who was shopping for them when he wouldn't allow them to go outside? All these adults that was in his circle that enable him and still is doing it all these years. I really wish some of them would come forward. Like these tapes that keep coming out, like especially the tapes that came out over the last year. How these tapes coming out? Because it's somebody who either felt guilty about helping him cover up stuff, that they was like, hey, I'm just going to put this tape out here. It's time. It could have been somebody who was trying to blackmail him. It could have been. But if these tapes wouldn't have came out, we wouldn't know that here's more proof that he messes with little girls. Like all the tapes that he made, the duffel bag with the camera and everything that they found and they tried to use in court last time, they found admissible because they didn't have permission to search that particular area, so the judge had to throw it out. So it's been proof on top of proof throughout the years that this man is constantly messing with children. And even the ones that are grown, it's proof out there that he abuses them, he beats them, isolates them, keeps them trapped in homes. Excuse me, locking them up in rooms. Hold on. I needed a drink. But locking them up in rooms like Dominique. She was like the one who was the most rebellious, so she was always locked up. Always locked up. And one time he left her on a tour bus for 3 days. No food, no water. He left her on the tour bus for 3 days for punishment. If it hadn't been for his security guards, other people who was sneaking her food, like you sneaking a kid some food. What kind of human being are you? What kind of human being do you have to be? There is no way I could see a child hungry and starving and being abused sexually, emotionally, physically, sexually, and emotionally. And I see them starving and thirsty and begging for food. And I'm not doing nothing. Like, not only am I going to make sure they get some food and water right away and medical attention if they need it, but I'm going to go to the authorities. That's why I'm like, he is not the only one that needs to be sitting in jail at all. And all these grown people looking at these kids and getting a kick out of this stuff because he has all this control and is dominating them and intimidating them and manipulating them and, brainwashing them. And they just there watching it like it's a TV show or something, like it's not real life, like it's not somebody's real child. That's what bites me the most, is these people who, I don't know if they will ever press charges on anybody other than him or not. I mean, I really wish they would. I hope one day that will come. I keep saying that R. Kelly, one day he's going to just let it rip. He's just going to put it all on the table. And I don't know if he might do it to get like a lesser charge or lesser time in prison, which to probably some people, they probably wouldn't like. They probably wouldn't like if he took a plea and got reduced charges, but it could be a good thing on the side because everybody would know, everybody, every artist, every musician, every manager, every hairstylist, every clothing stylist, everybody that hung around him, they would know who all was involved, because this is like a child exploitation thing. It was a ring. It was like a sex ring, pornography ring. And he cannot be the only one found liable for this. He just cannot. He just cannot. And that's, again, why I keep, like, every time somebody tells me, oh, it's the parents, I'm like, yeah, it was the parents. I'm not saying it wasn't the parents. I'm not saying they should have been more involved in their children's life, but you got to keep in mind, these kids came from broken homes. A lot of these kids came from broken homes. They were abused by their parents, abused by their mothers, boyfriends, physically, sexually, mentally. And a lot of them didn't really have a home to go to. Like the Geronda chick. How your child skipping school every goddamn day? The school ain't called, no letters, they ain't called a job, they ain't called nothing. And you have no idea that your child at a certain time every day skips school for weeks and weeks and weeks to attend one of the biggest trials of the century, which was R. Kelly's trial back in 2008. And she said it. She told us her mother wasn't that kind of parent to be looking after her like that. She didn't care where she was. And that's usually the case for most children who have parents like that, who do not care where they are. They don't care if their kids wake up and go to school. They don't care if their kids come home at night. They don't care if their kids go to school. They don't care. So that's why I'm like, you can't just put it on the parents. If the parent wasn't being a parent, okay, they wrong. But what about all these other parental figures, all these other guardian-like figures that should have been on their P's and Q's and out there rescuing all these kids and turning him over? It was all about the money on more levels than one. Now, in this episode, you said exactly, because others around were probably, Felicia, give me some. Give me some, sis. I've been saying that. I've been saying that he was not the only one engaging. And a few of them have said it. I think some of them haven't said it yet because they don't want nobody to look at them even worse than what they are. But some of them have said that some people in his entourage, it would be all them and the girls, and they had one big old orgy going on. So it's been said, and I said that too, that some of them people who was working with him, some of them probably married men, probably record producers, executives, all that kind of stuff, lawyers, whatever. I believe that they were engaging with some of these girls. 100% I do. I really do. And again, it's been said many times that he loves to engage in orgies. A lot of men, a lot of girls. You know? And that he liked guys and women. So it's not far-fetched for me to believe that other people who were working for him was running through them girls as well. It's not far-fetched at all. At all. But yeah, this Dominique, she finally got away. But then, you know, with the Stockholm syndrome, she went back. Her mom said after a few weeks she went back, but she said she mainly went back because she wanted to make sure her sisters, her sister wives, her sisterhood was okay, because she know how abusive R. Kelly can be. So when she went back, she thought she was going to get her butt whooped. She thought she was going to be on punishment, locked up, no food, no water, no phone calls like he normally do when they get out of line. But she said she walked up in there and he was like, glad to see her. She said he wasn't upset. He even apologized for his behavior, apologized for keeping her away from her family. He made promises to her that if she stayed, he would do better. He would start treating her better. He would let her visit her family when she wants to. And so she believed him. But lo and behold, when her little brother's graduation came up, and her little brother, who she loves to death, he loves her to death, they have a very tight bond. She promised him that she would go to his graduation. He knew she was coming. He knew she was coming because she promised him. And R. Kelly promised to let her spend more time with her family. But when she asked him, could I go to my younger brother's graduation? He said, nope, you can't go. She said that was the last straw. She knew then that once again, he had only told her what she wanted to hear to keep her there. And that's what he did. Hey, what's up, Mike? That's what she wanted to hear, and that's how a lot of pedos, they predators, abusers, they tell you what you want to hear to make you give them another chance after chance after chance to make it right. After that, she was totally done. She said, I gotta go. She broke her brother's heart by saying that she couldn't come, and she promised him that she would come to his graduation. And he wouldn't let her. He would not let her. So she finally left. But like many of the other girls, she ended up needing therapy because she was really depressed, really stressed. He takes these women and they come to them they come to him one way, like bubbly, happy, outgoing, friendly, cheery. I mean, just full of lights and full of, imagination and full of opportunities and possibilities. These women could be anything. And a lot of them were very talented, and had a bright futures ahead of them. But once he gets a hold of them and he turns them around and flips them inside out and all around and abuses them, they turn into people that they family and friends no longer recognize. And once she was back at home for good, her friends and family was like, they don't know her. She was just really, really depressed and stressed out. And it was just really, really sad. Really sad. Really sad. But R. Kelly, he's going to get his. I really do believe that he's going to get his one day. He's going to eventually get found guilty and have to serve some time for his crimes and for what he's done to a lot of these women and to a lot of these girls. But Yeah, and another thing that they had spoke about this episode was how he makes them like he makes them to prevent them or try to prevent their parents from going to the public when they find out what he really is about. He makes them sign these papers, like the girls, he would make them sign stuff saying your parent abused you or you went through this at home, or he would all these lies and stuff. And they would be like, why would I sign that? This stuff ain't true. And manipulating them. Well, if it ain't true, you should have no problem signing it. So they will sign different things and NDAs and all that kind of signing documents that they are not mentally capable of truly processing at a very young age, 14, 15, 16, at a very young age. And which is why by law, most documents, most contracts, you have to have parental a parent or guardian, or you got to be a certain age to sign those things, because they want to make sure that you are mentally capable of fully understanding what is written on them statements. But yeah, he was always coercing them into doing stuff. That one girl, Holly Calhoun, I don't want to say she's white. I think she might be mixed. I think she might be black and white, but don't quote me on that. But she do look like she might be mixed. But she has said, "Hey, Sunshine. Hey, thanks for tuning in." It was very dirty of him. A lot of things he did was very dirty and disgusting. The mixed girl that they spoke to, Callie had actually told one of the parents. She had told one of the parents that she had witnessed. This is how she knew, how a lot of the parents knew what he was doing to some of the girls. Joycelyn's mom, she had found out, Joycelyn and Azriel, and they were like one of the two, along with Dominique. They were one of the two last women who were with him when they were, doing the season last year. But Hallie, she had been with him for 3.5 years. And she had told Joycelyn's mom that R. Kelly had Joycelyn write down and sign that she was molested by her own father, Tim. And R. Kelly threatened to expose that if Joycelyn ever spoke about him. So that's how Joycelyn's parents, because remember, okay. Oh my God, that whole dramatic scene from Gayle King's interview last year. Y'all remember that when after R. Kelly had got bailed out of jail by his good old friend, that lady, that lady that bailed him out of jail, he had needed $100,000 at that time to get out of jail, and his friend Valencia Love, she had posted bail for him. That was in February of last year. He had served 3 days in jail, and then he got bonded out. Remember, he had went to that infamous McDonald's where a lot of people claim he frequented and cruised to pick up young girls. He went directly there from jail, like as a throw it up in everybody's face. I'm like, how ironic that the place you want to eat as soon as you get out of jail is McDonald's, and you go to the same exact McDonald's out of all the ones in the city where you used to frequent to pick up little girls. So after that, the whole world was just like in an uproar. Like, he's throwing this in our face. He knows that he can do whatever he wants and get off and just, throwing it up in our face. And he thinks this is some big joke. So then a few days later, he has an interview with Gayle King. On that interview, y'all remember when he was on that interview and he started flipping out and freaking out and throwing chairs, and Gayle was sitting there just like this. Ooh, I was gagging. I was like, he really thought he was about to intimidate Gayle. Like, we talking about Gayle King. Come on now. Now, I truly believe that if it had been any other journalist, like maybe white journalists, they probably would have been really intimidated and would have grabbed their briefcase, their notepad, their pen, their cameras, their video recorder. They would have hauled ass up out of there. But Gayle, she just sat there like, is you done yet? Fool, is you done yet? With all your theatrics? Are you done yet? It was like one big old act. He up there screaming and yelling, basically saying, I done gave y'all 30 years. 30 years of great music. And y'all coming at me like this after I done gave y'all 30 years of great music? Y'all trying to kill me? Y'all trying to ruin me? I'm looking like, what the? So you gave us 30 years of great music. So what? If you wrong, you wrong. If you wrong, you wrong. And Gayle had me going. She was just sitting there just looking like, okay, is you done yet? She didn't blink. She didn't flinch. And I know he did not like that. So I think once he realized that he wasn't getting the reaction out of her that he quite wanted, you know, she didn't freeze up. She didn't run. She didn't grab her stuff and bounce like, this man is crazy. I'm out. She just sat there. But when it was time for them to talk to the other ladies, when it was time for her to talk to Azriel and Joycelyn, their parents knew already that he had already instructed them what to say and how to act, especially after Hallie had already told them that he had Joycelyn sign papers saying that she had been abused by her own father, so that if they ever try to do anything to him, he could try to, you know, throw that back at them. Like y'all trying to say, I'm doing this, but you did that to your own daughter. So he was threatening to expose her parents, you know, but they had already been prepared for that. And Joycelyn and Azriel got on there. Even her family was like, what is she doing? This is not Azriel. She's just totally out of character. Totally out of character. When she sat there, she was saying stuff like, my parents, they just doing this for money. They just trying to blackmail him. That's all they trying to do. And how she was, remember last year when she was saying she really wasn't into music? And then we start seeing all these video footage of her practicing with vocal coaches, singing music, posting songs online. And how everybody around her, all her family and friends, knew that she wanted to be the next Beyonce, that she always wanted a music career and all this kind of stuff. But they literally think that she might have still wanted or had the desires to be an artist when she met him. But after everything that he has sent and put her through, that her dreams of becoming an artist, of being the next Beyonce, was just shattered. Because like with a lot of the other talented people, he drawed them in, acted like he was going to help push their career. Then next thing you know, he's just sleeping with them and abusing them. And then they either leave or he tosses them out like last week's trash. So that's what they, you know, believe what was happening to her. And so when she sat there doing that interview, and she told Gayle King that R. Kelly was a good person, that we just don't want to believe the truth, and that since we don't want to believe the truth, we must be ignorant and dumb as you know what. That's what she said about us. We ignorant and dumb as you know what. Because we don't want to see the truth, that R. Kelly is really this amazing person who does no wrong. Manipulation at its finest. At its finest, I tell you, it broke her spirit. He broke a lot of their spirits. Just broke them down to the ground. Just broke them down to the ground where they ended up being stressed, depressed, insecure, low self-esteem, just closed up, isolating themselves from their friends and family. He broke them down. But that's how he wanted them. That's how people like him do. They break them down. Then they make them think that they're the only one who love them. They're the only one that care for them. They're the only one who can provide the things that he's providing them. Like a lot of their parents didn't have that good money. So he buying them this, buying that, jewelry, bling, all this kind of stuff, cars, and they going on shopping sprees, and they living in big houses. They had all these parties. They had his concerts and all that kind of stuff. Their parents can't do all that. So it's a lot of different things that he used to manipulate them and isolate them. And when she sat there and said that her family was lying, and that as far as her music career, her family forced that on her, and that she really didn't want no music career, that she really never wanted to sing, and it was more like a job to her because her parents was making her do that. I, who didn't have no idea about the things that was going on behind the scenes, about him making them sign these letters and all that, had no idea about that. But I could just tell that story don't sound right, especially when we see all these videos. And the thing about it, the girl had a beautiful voice. Like, she has a beautiful voice. A lot of those singers who got caught up with him, who wanted to be famous singers and stuff, they did have beautiful voices. They did. They can sing. I can see me going to their concerts or buying their CDs or putting them in my car, on my stereo, on my Bluetooth, and, you know, bopping to them because they have some really nice voices. But she totally lied on her parents without blinking. Like, she totally lied. I'm like, oh my God. Wow. It's so sad. It's so sad. But anyway, yeah, so Deronda has signed papers, Joycelyn has signed papers, Azriel has signed papers, a lot of them have signed papers on things that could destroy their families. In the long run, expose their families, lies, totally lies. But this last episode, it was really enlightening to me because, again, I had always wondered about that Dominique. Like, that she, like, out of all the ladies, there's just a few of them that really touched me a certain way, and she was one of them. She was one of them, and it was probably because of the fact that she took the most of the abuse out of the ladies who was living there, because she was like one of those kids, like, probably like me or like a lot of y'all. When you want to do something, somebody telling you you can't do it, like, you telling me I can't eat? You telling me I can't go to the refrigerator? You locking me in my room because I didn't say the right words to you when we were out in public? You know, like, rebellious, like, boy, bye. You crazy. Next thing you know, she get bust upside her head and, you know, locked up in a room and bruises all over her body and stuff. It wasn't just her, but she got the most of the abuse of all the ladies in the home because she was the most rebellious, you know? But yeah, I always wondered, was she ever going to come out with her story? And I'm so glad she did. I'm really glad that a lot of these ladies are getting stronger and stronger, and letting people know who the real Robert R. Kelly is for the world to see. So that's my commentary on season 2, Surviving R. Kelly, The Reckoning, part 2, season 2, episode 4, which was called After the Rescue. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Please like the video, share the video, and if you are not already subscribed to The Hood Table, please subscribe to The Hood Table. Please subscribe to Tanya's Primetime TV Media Reviews. And please subscribe to Tanya's Delight Slice by Slice. Those are my 3 channels. The Hood Table, Tanya's Primetime TV Media Reviews, and Tanya's Delight Slice by Slice.